Hello and welcome to Confetti Chat. My name's James from James Douglas Films. We will be talking you down the aisle and waffling about weddings. Today we've got obviously Frankie from Pink Photographics and our special guest, which is Lucy from Live Entertainment, joining us to talk about wedding entertainment, but not your standard wedding entertainment, alternative entertainment as our topic. So I've been to loads of weddings where we've had things such as singing waiters and magicians and things that entertain. Obviously you've got the obvious points of a band and a DJ, but past that, what are people doing? What have you seen?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm the specialist. So there's all sorts of things that people are doing nowadays. You know, people want their wedding to be unique, and I think that's the main thing. And so the things that I often recommend are, you know, as the sun's going down, something like a fire show or an LED show can be really nice. Singing waiters are always really fun, where you're singing, where your waiters break out in song, usually at the dessert time of your meal when there's that lull, just to really, you know, bring a bit of life back into the party.
Started, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it really sets you up for that evening. And then also, you know, when people first arrive, that's also a really good time to have something that's a bit unique, a bit different. And so you can have things like, you know, like aerialists. So you could have an aerialist on a freestanding rig outside that serves you drinks.
Wow.
We also have tables that are humans inside and they serve you drinks on the tables. Stilt walkers, bubbleologists, so they make big bubbles, small bubbles. There's a whole plethora of things. There's lots.
Big fan of that.
It's great.
That's cool. So so have you booked out, say, for example, let's talk about the aerial dangly people, so they can do this outside, is that, or is that inside only?
They can do it indoors or outdoors. So in the summer, if you're having a lovely alfresco drinks reception, it's absolutely perfect. So they'll erect a big freestanding rig that can be 7.5 metres high, and then they'll basically be on either, well, we have a chandelier that they can hang from, and they'll pour you champagne.
Are there any like restrictions that you've got to be aware of for things like that, like with your venue and things like that?
We just need to make sure there's a flat surface, because the pourers bring in all of the equipment, then it's all, they know exactly what they're doing with it. So as long as there's, depending on the height, so it can be 7.5 or 4.5 metres, as long as there's the floor space, then you're all good. So people can walk under everything.
Don't have to worry about supplying anything. It is literally...
No, we're insured, we're sorted.
Bring
it and go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So let's talk about the opportunities for alternative entertainment. So, you know, I'm thinking bridal prep, not many people to entertain, probably no point.
Yeah. That's what we're there for.
Yeah, that's what we're there for. Then you get into the the ceremony section. Obviously there's live entertainment at this point. So I'm thinking, I've seen a lot of string quartets, I've seen singers, I've seen just acoustic guitar musicians, people like this.
Harpists.
Yes.
Harpists,
Yeah,
very
very popular at the moment.
Very popular. So what else are we talking about in that slot?
Well, Doug, you shot my wedding. So being in the business I'm in, I wanted to do something different that I didn't think many people would do. So
That doesn't sound like you.
So I arranged a flash mob at my ceremony.
So amazing.
And that included 5 vocalists, a full brass band, one of them on a bike, 2 stilt walkers, and confetti cannons at the end.
So extra. I love it.
And my husband was in complete shock. It was all a surprise. So, you know, you can go as big as you want with these things, even at the ceremony. You know, but like you said, if people want to keep it, you know, classy and more traditional, then your harpists, your string quartets are perfect. But, you know, if you want to still add an element of modern, you could go for an electric string quartet. So, you know, playing modern songs in a classical style, something like that's super nice.
So straight after the ceremony then, we're into the period, the drinks reception. I think that's
key.
This is the bit where I think it's really easy to have a completely flat spot.
Absolutely.
Because the couple will often be dragged off by...
I was about to say that, yeah, we've got them out.
So they're out of the way, and all of a sudden the guests are kind of left without a leader almost. They've not got anyone to follow
And
around.
they're all sober.
So, yeah.
As a rule,
So
you know.
this point, I think, where entertainment is something that people have to think about.
Well, yeah, it makes a great icebreaker. You know, it's that time where, you know, you're going to see people you've not seen for a while, and you're going to meet new people, and it makes it very easy if you're stood at the bar to go, wow, have you seen that? That's amazing.
Yes.
It's a good way to ice break, you know. So that's where you can have unique entertainment. This is the perfect time for it. And so the sort of acts that I would recommend for drinks receptions are magicians, walk around entertainers. So I mentioned the bubbles. Like if you've got outdoors, it's great for kids, it's great for adults. Bubbles, and it makes great photos.
Yes, it does.
Yes. And then like the Ariel champagne, you know, that is a luxury item.
Yeah.
You know, super luxury. But then acoustic performers, you can utilise the same acoustic performers for this section as you've used in your ceremony. Keeps costs down. It means you can pay them an extra amount to play the two different things.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
it makes sense to utilise the same musicians throughout your day.
Yes, of course, because you're not paying twice then. In that slot, I've definitely filmed magicians. I've filmed obviously musicians. I think I did one where they'd booked a DJ sax combo, that
Super
sort of
popular.
like that
Like
kind
an
of
Ibiza vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
in that, and I think that's quite interesting. Once again, it was the same musicians that then went on to do the evening slot. That seems quite popular.
That's a really good thing to have either at that point or after dinner.
Right.
So it just creates that lovely atmosphere of having, you need to have music. Your whole wedding needs to have a playlist. You know, in your mind, you need to kind of create the ambience and change it throughout.
Yes.
And so, you know, if you start it with that sort of Ibiza laid back saxophone or an LED violin, well, probably not LED if it's outdoor, but a violinist over a DJ, or you actually get a lot of musicians that will just bring in a DJ that's DJ playlist, so you're not paying for two people.
Yeah.
So similar sort of style, but just one artist. Roaming acts as well, very popular, so you can have people walking around.
Venue or type of style of wedding do you think that like the Ibiza vibe suits best?
Do you know what? It completely depends on the couple.
Yeah.
And I really believe that the couple need to have a solid idea of what they're about and it be a reflection of who they are. So if they go to heavy metal clubs at night, they probably don't want an Ibiza style thing at their wedding, because that's the whole point of getting married, that it's a reflection of who you are, you know.
I think people need to remember that, don't they?
Yeah, I think
not
so.
What's in fashion or what they think they should have.
It's what's good for you, not what's good for Instagram.
Exactly. Yes! Like 1,000 times, yes!
Do you think that's a risk? Do you think there's a lot of people that are booking things just because of that?
I think that a lot of people book things because they think it's what their guests are going to like.
Right.
Yeah.
But their guests are their friends and family. And I think people need to remember that it is their day and people will love whatever they put on, because they know, like, people don't arrange parties like this every day. You know, if you're a couple getting married and you're not in this business, where do you start with this?
Yes.
You know, and so that, I think that's why it's good to come to somebody like me who has doing this like week in, week out. I can make recommendations, but I always try and make sure that those recommendations fit with who the couple are.
I see. So talking about kind of where do couples start, with an agency like yourself would obviously make some sense. Do we see many at wedding fairs? Do you see many?
No,
You'll see magicians maybe.
I think you see the individual acts.
Yeah.
And it's mainly the mainstream, like the magicians,
The bands.
the singers, a few musicians like the harpists and things like that, but nothing a little bit extra, nothing a little bit unusual. And I think
I've
that
never
people...
seen a fire thing.
No.
No. Right, where do I sign up for a wedding fair?
Yeah, that's interesting, because you don't see those other things. But
No.
there's loads of options.
Yeah.
I imagine most people don't know.
I think so, but I also think because it is a luxury, and anything like that usually gets booked sort of only maybe 2 or 3 months prior to the wedding,
Yes.
because it is a massive luxury item. And I think with budgets of weddings, we all tend to go over. And so it is sometimes something that gets missed, but it's a massive talking point, and it's something that everybody will remember. And so I think it's actually an important thing to have something that's a little bit special on your wedding day.
I think that people do worry about the entertainment side of it, don't they? That when they're planning all their wedding, they know there's going to be that little lull after the ceremony when we're doing photos, all that's finished. What do we do to entertain our guests? And they're really, really worried about that. And they don't want to have it like people go, oh, really boring wedding, nothing happened.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go crazy extreme with your entertainment, do you? No. Because there are so many different options.
There's so many different options. And budget-wise, you know, we can go from reasonable to super expensive depending on where you are with it.
I think that that period of time seems to be completely prescribed by the ceremony time.
Yes.
You know, and I think a lot of couples don't necessarily get the first choice slot. You know, for me, 12:31 is, you know, ideal.
Yeah.
But if you're pushed into an 11:30 wedding,
like we had before Christmas.
Yeah, you know, an 11:30 wedding, that period can be massive,
very long.
like a huge amount of time
like
to
the
fill.
evening do started like just after lunch, didn't it? Yeah. And it just threw everybody, really threw everybody.
Yeah. So you know, I think that's a thing that you've got to think, how much time have I got to fill, really, and think about your entertainment based on that.
Yeah.
So
and with that as well, like the daylight compared to you know how if you wanted to obviously have like fire, things like that.
It's what time you're going to do it at.
Yes. Yeah.
So when we quote for fire, we always make sure that we check what time sunset is, because we don't want to put a fire show on in the day, you know, because it's just going to not have the same impact.
Summer fireworks. So what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So with the fire thing, we were talking earlier, and you mentioned about venue restrictions being a consideration. So what were those?
Yeah. So for example, if you had a fire show, we do indoor fire shows, but you know, for weddings, I think ideal outdoor fire shows. And you've got to think about things like, so sometimes wedding venues have restrictions on sound outdoors past a certain time. So if we're bringing in a fire show, we need to make sure that we can actually play the music outdoors, because there's nothing worse than the team getting there and then the venue say, no, you can't set that equipment up because we have no music outdoors from, you know, 9 p.m. So that's the restriction that sometimes gets overlooked.
Yeah, I can really see that as because you wouldn't think.
No.
You wouldn't think about it. You would go, I want that, and it's great.
Why wouldn't I be able to have that?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of these things get booked as a surprise element for the bride and groom, and that's why they get overlooked.
Yes.
Yeah. But so it's important for whoever's booking it to make sure that they have got that license for outdoor music.
Which obviously you would just deal with that yourself. So yeah.
Great. I don't know about. I've learned loads.
Possibilities are endless.
Basically, yeah.
So to summarise, then, I think the things that I've noticed, we are dealing with many options, like way more than you can possibly think of, just if you sat at home going, what shall we have? If you want it to be interesting and unique, then you've got to talk to a professional. You've got to talk to somebody that knows. So, you know, getting in touch with Lucy would be a really strong thing to do. If you want to fill that lull, that gap, and I think that is the prime time gap, the bit after the ceremony, before the sit-down meal, that bit is the most obvious slot for alternative.
With that, if you're saying it could be a surprise, we would need to know.
That often happens as well.
Yes.
There is that risk of we're somewhere with the couple taking their photo, videoing them, come back and we're like, oh, did you see that amazing? No. We were getting beautiful photos over there. So yeah, we would obviously need to know about things like that.
So I've just thought about a load of other things that I think fall into the same category as well. The more practical, hands-on things like games like golf and casinos and
like the garden games, like a giant
chess
Jenga,
those types of things. I think they all add up as well to kind of help keep people entertained. We did one where they had all of those carnival things, didn't they?
Yes,
loads of carnival games. So the options are massive, aren't they? I mean,
They are.
We didn't talk about any of those. So you've got to talk to someone, and you've got to talk to a professional that knows what they're doing.
This one here.
Yeah, someone like this to get somewhere with this, I think. But there's no right or wrong answer.
There's not. You've just got to do what's right for you. But I think just having those options put to you is a good place to start. You know, you don't have to book anything, but to weigh it all up, I think it's a good idea.
Well, thanks ever so much.
Pleasure.